All right, gang. So, just to preface this video a little bit, I made a video just before this one on this exact same subject, and I realized that it was just about impossible to do a first time play and review and comparison between Kerbal Space Program 1 and Kerbal Space Program 2 without doing a smidge of the training. Now, that being said, I still haven't formally done any of the training, um, but it took me. Listen, if you're going to play this game, okay, Kerbal Space Program, you need to be well aware that you need to do the training, okay? Because there is a lot going on here, and let me try to help you understand what I mean by a lot going on. So, my specialties in university was mechanical, electrical, and computer engineering, and then after that, um, astrophysics. So, I have a pretty good knowledge about a lot of aspects of this game, but just knowing how everything is supposed to work doesn't help you play this game. I found out the hard way. So, step number one, if you've never played Kerbal Space Program before, whether you're going to do one or two, save yourself the trouble, do the training. Because if you don't, you're going to get so frustrated that you won't want to play anymore. So, there seems to be this big debate right now about Kerbal Space Program 2, which just came out not that long ago. At the time of this recording, which is March 2024, it's been out for a little while. I think it may have released last year. And Kerbal Space Program 1 has been out for quite some time. I believe I played it for like the first time in 2014. Now, when I played it back in 2014, I did not have a computer powerful enough to actually play the game. It's very demanding. You can obviously turn down all of your settings and everything like that and get some better performance and stuff out of it, but at the time, even with everything turned down, I couldn't really get a good experience on the game, so I stopped trying. So still, this is kind of like a first time go for me, getting into a lot of the different stuff. So that being said, the purpose of this video is to kind of talk about Kerbal Space Program 1 versus 2 at an ultimate beginner standpoint, because there's a lot of people out there that are like, you know, Kerbal Space Program, like veterans. They've been playing the game for years and years and years and years and years. They're really, really good at it. They're highly biased between 1 and 2, and there's not a lot of bias in there, but there is some. And because at the time of Kerbal Space Program 2's release, it's like an early access release, so the game is not fully developed. Like they're still continuing in development right now, and they're supposed to be adding things as they go through it. So the game started out, I believe it was like $49 for limited access, and everyone's going, oh, you know, there's just limited stuff. You can't really do everything fully. Is it really worth the, you know, $50 or whatever it was? I got this one 20% off on Steam. You know, is it really worth spending $49 on a game that's not fully developed and doesn't have capabilities when you can go and pay a fraction of the price and get the original Kerbal Space Program that is fully developed? Okay, cool. We've got finances and, you know, we're thinking about finances, we're thinking about budget and things like that, which is cool. We should be doing that in our lives. Now, I'm going to just do a quick sandbox in both games without doing the training, and I'm going to try and show everybody the major leaps that have taken place between the first and the second game. Like I said, I played it once before today. Um, Not like before today. I've played it once before this video today. Um, so I had to do a little bit of learning to actually get a grasp on things, and there's still so much I don't know. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Start New. We're going to go to Sandbox, which is you have access to everything. You can build everything. You can do whatever you want to do. There's no missions and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to turn our difficulty to easy. Now, the difficulties in the game are pretty much going to be as such. When it's easy, it's going to kind of keep you from dying as much. You're still going to blow up and all that stuff, but you're going to have access to everything. You're not going to be trying to figure out the best way to say this. You're not going to be chained to the laws of rocketry as much. This is going to help you a little bit. So obviously, like right here, re-entry heating is at 50%. You know, that's going to, because you can't be going too fast when you re-enter the atmosphere because of the friction, and you'll burst into flames. Auto hire crew members before flight, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff. So we're going to go to easy. And there's advanced sections and stuff like that. You can turn it to hard, make everything crazy difficult, but we're going to go on easy because for all intents and purposes, we're newbies, and we want to know which game we're supposed to get, whether we should get the old KSP or the new one. So we're going to hit start, and like I said, you know, we're new, we're going into this right here. So we've got this little dialogue. Nice to meet you. I'm Gene Kerman, flight director, your guide for a quick introduction. This is the Space Center. From here you can manage all aspects of the space program. Feel free to have a look around. Right mouse button to move the camera, or use the arrow keys. Right click over the Space Center facilities to view more about them. So you can right click there and it tells you a little bit about it. You can enter it or you cannot. Left click when you're ready to head inside. If you need more information, check out our training section on the main menu. Like I said, do the training. I still haven't done the training yet. I barely have an understanding of how to operate this game, and I have a lot of physics and engineering background. So just take my word for it. It's better to do that. So we have a few different places here. We have the space plane hangar. You know, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to be launching from our runway. You know, we're going to be using basically building airplanes, rotary planes, jet planes, whatever. You're going to be building plane style stuff. I think there's like helicopters and things like that in here too. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've played this, and the only thing I did today was absolutely make a fool out of myself, which I may post the video of that, because the rockets that I built were absolutely ridiculous, and they're going to be, because I don't know exactly where to find everything and where to get all of my information. I don't know where to look for my weights and my thrust to weight ratios. It doesn't really matter. So let's go in here. Okay, so welcome to the vehicle assembly building. Hi, I'm Werner von Kerman, Chief Rocketry Engineer. Let's see. This is the vehicle assembly building where we build spacecraft and later roll them out to the launch pad for flight. Pretty impressive, isn't it? On your left, you'll find components to construct your own spacecraft. Select a starting part and attach parts to building the ship. You can have a look around with the right mouse button or the arrow keys. That's it. What's it say? That's it, really. It's not as if it were rockets. Oh. Anyhow, if you need more in-depth explanation on how to build, have a look at the training section in the main menu. Listen to the dude, okay? So as you can probably tell by the graphics here, this is early stuff. So you're going to get high frame rates. even if you have everything turned up and you have like a subpar graphics card and stuff like that. There's not a lot of texture. There's not a lot of you know, shadow casting and stuff like that in here. So there is right here, but as you can see out here, there's not. So we have untitled spacecraft. We don't even care. So first off, we build our rockets. I don't know if you can do it from the, I think you need to do it from the top down, honestly. Oh, excuse me. So let's start out. Obviously everything's kind of oriented from the top down. So let's do the Mark 1 command pod. Okay, and that starts us out. So let's see here. We can go to sort. Okay, so this is our sorting section. We can sort by name, mass, cost, or size. Because I guess in the game, as far as I know, you're limited to cost and supply as well. So you have to do these missions on a budget, which we'll talk about later. So we have a command module. The second thing we need is a way to detach this control module. So let's look. Okay, couplings right there. So one of the more confusing aspects of this versus the second one, what you'll see is you're looking at all of these different couplings, right? So TD37, 25, 6, and all that stuff. As you're looking through them, let's just say I come in here, I don't know what I'm doing, I want to grab this one. Well, that's not going to work. Look how large that ring is. Okay, so, and to get rid of something, which it doesn't really tell you unless you go through the training, to get rid of this off of your mouse, you need to bring it back over here into the menu and click on it. Now, I don't know if you have to bring it back into the menu. Yeah, you do. You have to bring it back into the... Okay. Bring it back into the menu and click on it, and it gets rid of the item. I mean, I don't know if you could probably maybe push delete. Okay, you can press the delete key as well. So, but, you know, how do we know which size coupler we're looking at? Well, we have this Mark 1 command pod. We're looking at our information on it. We can see our crew capacity, our maximum temperatures, tolerance, mass, not particularly in that order. Let's see, our mass is 0.746 tons plus the passenger mass, which we assume that human beings to be 185 pounds. So, but I don't know what it is in Kerbals, like 3 ounces. Let's see here. We have electrical charge is 50, our monopropellant, so it does come with propellant in it so that we can, you know, move around. Let's see, but that's it. So let's see, RMB, more info. I don't know what RMB stands for. And I'm looking at my keyboard. Okay, so it must stand for right mouse button. Okay, so let's see. This part cannot be placed in a storage container but can be manipulated in EVA construction. So EVA stands for extra vehicular, it doesn't matter. Let's see. Extravehicular activity, sorry. I was trying to read at the same time. So command, data transmission, lifting surface, relative wing area, reaction wheel. So it has a reaction wheel built into it, and a reaction wheel is something controlled by an electric motor to give a weighted ring angular momentum in a direction to offset the spin, the pitch, yaw, and roll of it. You know what I mean? If it's, you know, rolling to the right and you give angular momentum to this mounted wheel that goes to the left, it'll counteract that and bring it back because of the, doesn't matter. Let's see here. Science experiment, variance. So no matter how much I look in here, I don't see a size. I don't see anything that has to do with I don't see anything that has to do with the size. So when we come in here and we're looking for a separation, a decoupler, something that will remove the rest of our vehicle from this capsule so that it can re-enter and deploy a chute and do all that stuff. You don't want your fuel tanks, fuselages, and all that stuff attached to it. You have to detach it. So how do we know which decoupler goes with this command module? Well, I don't know that we do, other than the explanation here at the bottom of this manufacturer. The TD-06 stack decoupler is a miniature detachment device for small rockets. So maybe just the miniature, a small explosive charge, blah blah blah. So I don't. We have ejection forces, which you don't really need to know that much in the early stages of this. The ejection force it can offset your velocity depending on which way you're traveling. Or it can increase your velocity, cause an acceleration in a direction, either changing your velocity higher or lower depending on the direction of acceleration. Yeah, but I don't see anything that has to do with the size of it. So let's see here. So that's obviously small. So as far as Kerbal Space Program 1, unless there's something I'm missing, and if there is, that's fine. I'm completely okay with that. Basically, the best way I've found to do this is to literally come over here and just click on things until you find the right size. That's too big. That's too big. That's too big. That's about the right size. Okay, cool. Now, does this command module come with a heat shield? So dry mass, let's see, maximum temperature on the skin is 1200, 2200 Kelvin. So I think we need a heat shield on the bottom of our capsule here. So I don't even know, let's see, command and control, structural. Is that radial detachment point? Okay, so this is all structural. Let's see, payloads, aerodynamics. Maybe there's a shield in the aerodynamics. Okay, so we have a nose cone, air brake. Is that an air brake system? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Reverse thruster. Thruster braking. Let's see here. I don't see any heat shielding. Thermal. There we go. Okay, so now we have a heat shield. So let's see. Once again. So here's the thing. Now we have. I don't even know if that's the diameter. Let's see. Okay, so that is. So that must be. Let's see. 0.625 meters. Okay, so we would need a heat shield there. Okay, obviously, because we want to be shielded from our heat. And then we would need a coupler. But see how, notice over here in the thermals, how at the top where it says like heat shield, next to it, I'm assuming that's going to be the diameter, right? I'm just guessing, okay, 0.625 meters, so I guess that's the diameter of it. That seems pretty small. Whatever. I don't have that in my couplings, right? So look over here, I don't seem to have that anywhere. If I do, let me know. You know, I'm not perfect at everything, so now we have a heat shield and we have a coupler. What's next? Okay. we need a fuel tank. So here we are in the fuel tanks. How do we know which diameter fuel tank we're getting? I don't know. I don't know. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. So I don't know if you're really, so we need a liquid fuel fuselage. Let's see here. That's going to carry liquid fuel. But what we want is something that's not just liquid fuel. We want something that's liquid fuel that contains also an oxidizer with it so that it can burn outside of our atmosphere. We need something to... So, let's see. So this is a fuel tank adapter, which would be just an aerodynamic shape that would allow you to add a larger diameter fuel tank, if you could find one. Okay, little bitty fuel tank. So if you get my drift, I don't know what these little symbols are. There's these little symbols right here, and I'm not 100% sure what they mean. So let's see here. So what do we have here? That's liquid fuel. We want, you know what, just for giggles, let's see. Let's find one that's just liquid fuel. That's monopropellant. That's something like, I think it's hydrazine. No, it's not hydrazine. Whatever. That's for use in like small thrusters and stuff to have orientation and things. Sorry, I'm actually quite intrigued on which fuel tank, but I don't know if you catch my drift. How do I know which fuel tank goes in what? Let's look at our size. We can do it by size. So I guess this is all going to be like small and then like maybe medium. So that's Mark 1. And that's a Mark 1. So if we were to scrap this, maybe fuel tanks, it's Mark 0, Mark 1 liquid fuel stage. Okay, so it's, you know, Mark 1 fuel stage and a Mark 1 capsule. Okay. Now, just for the sake of you know what, let's run 2. Which I'm sure there's going to be some kind of structural component that needs to be done. And also, okay, so right there, so symmetry. So you can add symmetry by clicking down here, and that was one thing that I had to figure out. So we're going to put that there, and I wish there was a way to toggle snap. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so why did that happen? Did it? Okay, so it snapped something weird. Now if I control Z it, I can get rid of it. So let's go down to a fuel duct here. And okay, so maybe we just need to get down into a double. Now I don't know that we actually need a fuel duct here to connect these two, because I would assume that because they're in the same arrangement here together, they should feed off of each other. Let's see here. So we have 400 capacity and 400 capacity. So total we should have 800. We'll look at that in a minute. Now we need an engine. So let's see here. Let's just look for Mark 1 because I think that's the best. So I believe these are only liquid propellants too. There's no oxidizer in them. What do you? I mean, but as you can imagine, liquid fuel engine. As you can imagine, this can be fairly frustrating, simply because how do you know which size you're putting on? So we definitely want to swivel. We want to have some movement. Let's do some aerodynamics here. These are fan blades. That's a structural wing, which we do have. Basically, let's see. I need something that can. So that's a delta wing. This just has lifting surfaces cannot be placed in storage containment. Okay, so okay, I need something that. See, and it doesn't delineate unless I'm missing it. Relative wing areas for manipulated. I don't see anything that says whether or not this is purely structural or if it has movement capabilities. They might all have movement capabilities. I don't know. Let's just do type B. That is really big. There we go. Oh, honestly, let's do 4 of them. Do we need 4? No. Why are we putting 4? I don't know. Let's see. Ground, thermal, electrical, communication, science, cargo, utilities. We got a Mark 25 parachute module. There's a Mark 16 parachute module, so. Which we got a Mark 16 parachute module on a Mark 1 command module. So there we go. We basically have 2 fuel containing units at 400 liters. I'm guessing. It doesn't say, it just says 400 out of 400. So we should have a total of 8. And now that we're done there, we have basically a freestanding rocket. We have liquid engines, so as our atmosphere depletes and we lose the oxidizing agents from oxygen, it should flame out. We have a coupler, a thermal plate, and blah, blah, blah. So we have stages. So our stage 1 is the rocket, okay, and this is our staging area. So we need to add one. So we don't want to activate our coupler and our parachute at the same time. We want to activate our coupler when we're out of fuel, or when we don't need any more fuel, and discard that, and then we want to activate our parachute when we want to activate our parachute. So now let's go ahead and move over here to the launch platform. Yes, I understand there's a lot more that needs to be done with this, but we are almost 100% complete newbies, and this actually in itself, I mean, you saw how long it took me to put this thing together, because I don't play it all the time. I haven't done this. I haven't done the training. I'm just a guy that wants to play the game. Now, I'm also the kind of guy that would watch all of the training before I play, so I might be a little informed. But I don't want to be super informed. It's hard for me to give an honest opinion on the ease of play and playability of a game if I become not an expert, but super well informed in the game. Okay, because anybody can watch videos, learn, and practice and get good at it. I want you to know what your first time experience is going to be. Like me, I don't want to watch training videos, I want to play with something. So let's go to the launch pad. Hopefully this thing doesn't fall over sideways because I have no stabilizing elements whatsoever on the launch pad. I have no girders, no nothing. So it looks like it's going to sit fine. Okay. As far as controls go, okay, so with a standard American keyboard, US keyboard, um, you've got your throttle controls, okay, and that's going to be connected to your shift and control button, your left shift and your left control. I don't know if the right one does it. It does not. So left shift and left control. So left shift will throttle you up. Left control will throttle you down. Z, or the Z key, will give you full throttle, and X will give you no throttle. Okay, so right here you have your RCS, which is your reaction control system. You need to look into that further. And then right here you have a stability assist system, and they both do different things. You can come over here and click stability assist, and you can have like let's see, radial in, radial out. You've got a retrograde and a prograde option. You have normal stuff. That's going to help keep you oriented in a specific, it's going to give you a specific orientation. Okay, and you'll learn about that in the training and all that stuff. Okay, we also have over here our delta V tools. Now this little triangle symbol right here is delta. There's a couple different deltas, but this just means delta, and delta means a change in. And the different delta symbols basically delineate how big of a change. Okay, so right here we have delta V, and that V right there stands for our velocity. So that's going to be our change in velocity over time. That's important in real rocketry because as you have a rocket sitting here with 800 units of fuel, and you have a certain amount of thrust you need to get that mass, if you're factoring in gravity, that weight. The weight is only there if you have gravity with the mass. So let's just say weight because we're on a surface. Let's just assume we're here. So basically we have a certain amount of thrust, certain amount of force that has to come from our engine to lift all of the weight of that rocket, including the fuel inside it. And as we burn the fuel that it takes to push the rocket off the ground, we lose fuel, which means we're losing weight. And also, as we get farther and farther away from the surface of our celestial body, our planet that we're on right now, the effects of gravity will reduce, which means the force pulling this object down because of its mass with its force makes your weight. Because of that force pulling you down, as you get farther away, it lessens. So let's say we put our throttle at 100% and we're up and we're moving, which I don't even know if this engine has enough thrust. I haven't figured out where to find my thrust to weight ratio. And so as we're going up, we're burning our fuel and we're losing gravity. Okay, so as our gravity and our mass, you know what I mean, we're losing mass because we're burning it. It's changing. It's leaving the rocket. So as those two things are going down, our velocity is going to increase because our rocket is now lighter and the effects of gravity are less. So we have less force pulling down and we have less weight to move. Hence the delta velocity, the change in velocity over time because of the reduction of weight and gravitational forces. So this game actually has a lot of really important stuff in it that is 100% real in rocketry. And I don't know that you need to know all of that. Right here, this TWR, that's our thrust to weight ratio. I don't see it anywhere though. So, and that could just be my ignorance of playing the game. That being said, now that I've gone off, I'm sorry I get on tangents like that. Science is my thing. Physics and engineering and stuff, that's my thing. So I get excited about it and I try to teach people about it. And if I used a word that wasn't correct, it isn't because I don't know the correct word. It's because I'm trying to speak to people in a way that they would understand it the best. So please, I apologize. Um, so to activate our stages, which is over here, so this is our staging area. So the first stage, it goes from the bottom up, is going to be our engine, right? So we have our throttle over here at 100%, because we haven't looked at any thrust to weight ratios. We don't know what our throttle percentage needs to be. I'm just going to leave it at 100. We have our coupler and we have our parachute. So every time we press the space bar, this is going to turn on, and then the next time we push our space bar, this is going to turn on, and the next time we push it, this is going to turn on. Okay, so step one, we're going to light the engine. Now, I'm going to put my reaction control on there, and I'll let you guys figure out what that is, but let's just see if we even have enough thrust to weight to get this thing off the ground, which, like I said, I have it here, but I don't see it on my screen anywhere. Oh my goodness, show all, there it is. Why was that? Okay, so let's so we're at 0 thrust. I need to know what our potential thrust to weight ratio is. Thrust to weight 0, 0, 0. Obviously, because we're not lit, but do we not have like a... Okay, and I will show you something when we get to the second one that's going to make a lot more sense. So let's just go ahead and light this thing off. Okay. Show all. I don't want to show all. I don't even want that open right now. So something backfired. What was it? So let's revert flight, which means to go back. Let's revert it to our launch, which was 6 minutes ago of me talking about stuff that nobody cares about, and I apologize. So let's... Okay, so that's our liquid fuel. And I'm guessing that because I lit off... Let's see here. Maybe I got something wrong. Like I said, I'm not trying to get super far into this. I'm trying to just give you a basic rundown. Okay, throttle. I feel like the tab key should have been throttle. So it's not even engaging. So I'm assuming that we have the incorrect fuel to the incorrect engine. So we need to get out of here and revert back to the vehicle assembly. Maybe I wasn't paying attention to something. So let's go and move this over. This right here, we have liquid fuel, the MK1 liquid fuel fuselage. And we have the liquid fuel engine, which I have a pretty good indication of what's going on here. So we're just going to scrub this real quick. Oh, let's do something that has an oxidizer in with it. Is that oxidizer? Yeah. Okay, so there we go. We have an oxidizer too. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to come back to our engines. We have to excuse me. I'm not 100% there right now. Is that the swivel? Okay, so that's what we want. We want the swivel. And let's get back to our aerodynamics. And I think we went to the big S. No, we went to something smaller. Right? Yeah, definitely went smaller. But once again, so we have the elevon, so I'm guessing that's an elevator. We got our delta wing. It's flipping huge. Delta wing deluxe winglet. I will take a winglet. Probably don't even need that. Let's see here. Let's see. Small delta wing structural. So I don't even know, because that says structural, I don't even know if that has the capability of maneuvering. Let's see. Let's go ahead and set up a three-way system there, and we're just going to place it. Let's get back out to the launch pad, and we'll be able to tell if they actually have articulating movement of any kind. Let's see if they can articulate. We can do that by ASDW. So we don't. So we have, as you can see down here in the corner, this is our pitch, yaw, roll. Okay, our roll is done by W and E. Our pitch is done by Q and E. W and S for our pitch, and our yaw is A and D. So as you can imagine, you've got pitch, you've got roll, and you've got yaw. So not that that matters right now. So let's see if that was our initial problem, was that we didn't have an oxidizer. So let's go ahead and jack our throttle up and just press the button. So yeah, we were missing an oxidizer. I'm going to go ahead and put on my reaction control system here. So as you can see, we're up. Let's see if we can get our thrust to weight ratio. So our thrust to weight ratio right now on our engine is 2.91, which means that we have plenty of thrust. All we need is a thrust ratio of 1 really to get the rocket off the ground. If it's above 1, you should be good to go. So let's see here, let's keep it like 1.3. So we're off the ground, we're still gaining altitude, we're moving away, we're also burning fuel, which means our weight is becoming less and less and less. So yeah, so we have our liquid fuel and our oxidizer. We're off, we're moving at 420 meters per second and increasing speed as we leave Earth. Because we have an oxidizer on the tank, we can also get off of the Earth, or whatever this is. So by pressing M, we can get a view of our trajectory. Now if you'll look here, this A and this P, and that's our apoapsis, or apoapsis. I don't know how you say it. I don't know how anybody says it. That's how I say it, because that's how I remember it. That is our maximum height away from our object, and that's the maximum we'll reach, and then we will begin to come back down. Now you have a periapsis as well, and if I go back here, I can actually change the way that we do things by, let's see if I can do this properly with the way I have this set up. So let's go ahead and let's see if I can go ahead and put my stabilization on for prograde, which is going to take us into our, oh my gosh. Okay, so we're out of fuel, so it doesn't matter. But as you can see here, here's our trajectory. And the music changes once you get outside the atmosphere. So this is as high as we're going to get. Okay, and it says that we're going to get there in T, which is the time, minus 1 minute and 38 seconds. So in 1 minute and 38 seconds, we're going to reach a height above the surface of 112,696 meters. So we are in a low Earth orbit, or maybe even a high one, whatever, Kerbal, whatever. So we can press the M key and change our view back. So here we are, just floating along. Now, because we've used up our fuel and we've used up all of our, we have no more maneuvering capabilities, we have no thrusters on our capsule here, we can go ahead and move on to the second stage, which is actually right here. So we press the space bar again, and you'll see that that coupling ring we put on there, with an explosive charge in most cases, will leave our rocket away from us. It pushes it away. It pushes us away from it and it away from us. So now we are just a capsule floating. We still have our heat shield. Okay. Now that wheel that I was talking about earlier, okay, that adds angular momentum in different directions so that you can change the orientation of whatever you're using without propellant. So as we push our ASDWs, you'll see that our reaction wheel is allowing us to do our thing. Now see how we're in this stability assist, and we are currently in prograde, which means that prograde is going to keep the nose towards our trajectory in the simplest terms. So our trajectory is to go up and then back down. So as we do that, our reaction wheel is going to be keeping our nose in that trajectory. See how it's starting to kind of turn down a little bit? Let me see if I can level it out. So as we start going back down, the nose is going to go down because we are in prograde. We have the nose of our vehicle on trajectory. Now, let's say we want to go retrograde, which is where we basically have the opposite. The nose is going to be opposite of our current trajectory. See that? Prograde, retrograde. There's a lot more to this. I'm just trying to keep this as simple as humanly possible. So what's going to happen is even though it looks like we're probably coming like straight down, we're actually not. We're actually coming down at a slight angle. And because we have that reaction wheel in the capsule and we have our reaction control system on, that's going to help keep us where we need to be. There's certain times to have these on, certain times to have these off. Please go through the training. I'm going to go through the training. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to go through the training because I love this game. I love the idea of this game. I love games that have true physics in them. I love it. But as you can see, now our vehicle here, I'm going to keep calling it a vehicle because a vehicle is anything that takes us and transports. So you can see that it's actually starting to get more straight up and down because we have that reaction. Okay, and we have that stability control. So what's going to happen is right here, this little bar, as we slowly enter the atmosphere, so there's going to be normal atmospheric pressure, we're slowly getting in. As we come in, we're going to be going so fast. We're going 1,000 meters per second. So once we hit the air, we're actually going to be passing through the air so fast that we'll be cutting into it, and the friction is going to create fire. Okay, it's just like rubbing two sticks together. You rub it enough, it'll smoke. You rub it enough, it'll catch fire. We are actually doing that with air right now. Okay, imagine it as liquid sandpaper almost. Once that breaks down, okay, so that air is slowing us down dramatically because there's more air, so there's more stuff for us to push through. We're dropping fairly fast. Okay, so the more air we get into, the slower we're going to go because we have to push that air out of the way. And the closer we get to sea level, the more dense the air is. So we've hit 274 meters per second, which is probably going to be our maximum velocity or our terminal. We're going to eject our parachute. It's going to take a while for it to inflate, but it will inflate. Let's hope. I may have waited too long. Nope, there it goes, it's starting to inflate. There it goes. So there's a certain amount of time that you need to have for different parachutes to inflate fully. That's also probably in here that you need to look through. Like I said, there's a lot to this. If you're an enthusiast in physics engines and rocketry and space and all of that, this is the game you need to be playing. Okay, like I said, I know a lot about physics. I know a good bit about astrophysics, an abundance of engineering. All the principles are here, but it doesn't do you any good unless you know how to work with the system you're using. So I don't know if we're going to sink or not. Okay, so we don't sink, we float. So we did it. We landed back on Earth safely, and we can recover our vehicle. So let's see here. That I don't know how to do. So this is basically where we're at with Kerbal Space Program 1. You've got a good look at the graphics, a good look at the interface, a good basic understanding of how everything works. Okay, um, and not everything. You have a basic understanding of a very small fraction of what's in this game. That being said, as you saw, we went through, we did sandbox, we skipped the training, and you saw that we weren't told a lot, except for the fact that we should, if we have any questions, hop on over to the training center. Okay? Cool. So, we did it. We did this. I don't expect you to be able to just jump into sandbox and do what I did. I don't know what I'm doing in this game. I just have a really good understanding of a lot of the concepts that happen in this game and why they happen the way they do. So, now that we've gone through there, right, we kept an average of about 60 frames per second. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hop straight over into Kerbal Space Program 2. And we're going to look at how different things are and how easy it would be to just hop into the game and play. Is it going to be easier? Is it going to be more difficult? Is it going to be, we're going to see exactly what that is, and we're going to do it right now. It's not going to be another video at another time. It's going to be right now. So if you'll give me just a second, what I'm going to do, I'm going to quit out to the main menu. Okay, it's telling me that it's going to be, saved or whatever. We're now out, and there's a bunch of add-ons to this too. And one of the things that I didn't show you was that you have solar systems with planets that have moons that have other solar systems. You can go in this game and you can build crafts to land on moons and release vehicles and do, go into orbit around your Kerbal planet here. And you can do EVAs, which are extra vehicular activities, which allow you to exit your vehicle and do work and release things. And there's so much in this that you can do that you really need to, if this is the kind of thing you're into, you need to give it a shot. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get out of here. The screen's going to go blank for a second while I switch over, and we're going to go straight to Kerbal Space Program 2, so give me just 1 second here. We're going to quit. The screen's going to go blank, just like I said, but it's not going to be blank for long. Probably less than 15 seconds here. I've just got to switch over my capture. So let's see, now that we're in here, let's go ahead and pull this up, and we're going to bump over to here and log into that, and that should bring us right into our login screen. So we're already up and running. As you can see, it had the GeForce RTX right there. That's really cool. We have health informations. When you first start the game, you'll have user end agreements and things like that. So single player. I'm assuming that means that there's going to be a multiplayer at one point. I haven't done a lot of reading into this. I haven't looked into it a bunch. I've watched a couple of videos, but honestly those videos were so vague and generalized that it was really difficult for me to get a grasp of, I guess I'm kind of a hands-on person. You have to really see it. So first off, let's go into our settings and check out our graphics. So we have all of our graphics on high. Everything's on high. Everything's on high and ultra. Ground shading quality, water quality, shadows, you know what, I'm going to turn down my ground shading. Quality presets, high. 1920, 1080, borderless. So, let's get out of here. So first off, we're going to go into single player. And as you can see, I already have this one here that I did earlier, which was ridiculous. So, let's let's go ahead and do start a new one. So we have exploration. Build your space agency from humble beginning. Start with a small suite of parts. Perform experiments and complete missions to earn. So you have this option in Kerbal Space Program 1 as well. You build up, you do campaigns, you do missions, you have budgets, you have supply requirements. I mean, it can get in depth. You can lose yourself in either one of these games. Now, like we said, this is Kerbal Space Program 2. This is the early release. So this is not fully developed. Everything is not here. Okay? So be aware of that when you're paying this price, and this is what the video is about. You know, at the time of release right now, I don't know what the price was. I know that right now it's like $39.99 or $49.99 unless you find it on sale for Steam for a game that's not complete. But we're not going to go into the campaigns. This is just a beginner's review of the games and which ones I would point a complete and utter newbie to this. Okay, so we're gonna pick sandbox. We can change our agency flag. We've got cadet orientation. Okay, we're gonna leave that on. That's on by default, right? We don't have to turn that on. That's just there. So let's just go ahead and start and see the difference in, right? We didn't do anything extra in the other one either. We went in, we went to sandbox, we read a couple things, and then we were left to our own devices pretty much, except being told to go to the training center. So let's see what we got.
Your new space program, leaping forward into the cosmos. Since the dawn of Kerbal kind, we have looked to the sky and wondered what sublime mysteries lie hidden in the darkness, like jewels never beheld. These untold treasures may soon reveal themselves due to the efforts recently founded Kerbal Space Program.
Oh my, I think that might have been the only copy of the orientation film. Hold on! Slides, somewhere. Welcome to your first day running the Kerbal Space Program.
So this is
This
nice.
campus hosts the greatest ever gathering of astronomers, astronauts, and engineers. After years of focused effort, this collection of geniuses has created several very impressive buildings.
Mm-hmm.
We believe we have all the necessary pieces to take our first steps off the ground. The best way to advance our technologies further is to get up there and learn by doing. All we need now is somebody to show us how to put all these parts together. Well, we also need somebody to help us out with the flying. We need a lot of help, actually. That's why you're here.
That guy doesn't look
My
good.
name is Paige, by the way. If you need any hints, feel free to visit me over at the training center. Everything in there is well padded, so it's a great place to get up and running. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so that by itself is nice. Obviously, I'm not saying that they should have done that with the first one. The first one is considerably older than this. All I'm saying is that if I'm a guy or a gal or whatever, if I'm a individual buying a game, and I would be way more attracted to that introduction. Okay, that doesn't mean that everything's going to be better, but it's just a very nice introduction. The graphics here, as you can see, we have a lot more going on. We've got actual trees, we've got nice shading, we've got mountains in the background, we've got all that stuff. And I don't know if that's just an image background or if that's actually a real world 3D object that is currently in our field of view. So let's see what we have. We have our training center. Right, that's where we learn everything. We're not going to go to the training center because you're going to do that. You're going to go to the training center because that's what you should be doing. We're going to check. There's our tracking system. So we can launch a lot of spacecrafts in a lot of orbits doing a lot of things. And we go here and we can track them and see what they're all doing. This is our R&D center. This building is only available in exploration mode. We're in sandbox. Okay, this is our launch pad. So, hello and welcome to Kerbal Space Center. This campus has everything you need to turn your fledgling space program into stuff of legends. And then we have, you know, this little piece over here too. So right off the bat, what we have is we have desired information directly in front of us and user friendly. Okay, if you ever heard the term UI, it stands for user interface. And right now we have a very novice friendly user interface. So that's nice. Are you playing exploration mode? Please be sure to visit mission control. Complete missions. Completing missions is one way to earn science. Sorry, I got a yawn. Which will let you purchase technologies at the R&D center. So you go on missions, you earn money, you get contracts, you complete those contracts, you go over to the R&D, you can do research and development, get new vehicles, new motors, new engines. I mean, there's a lot in this. If you want to start building right away, the vehicle assembly building is where you want to be. Okay, we learned the vehicle assembly building in our last one. That's where we went immediately, and they call it the VAB. Okay, a lot of acronyms. Our engineers have created a training program that will guide you through building and flying your very first rocket. You can go through those lessons here at the training center. So you can go to the training center, and that's what you need to do. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because like I said, I want to get straight into the game, and I like the fact that you don't have to hover over the buildings here either. You can just go right here. Look at that. We don't have that in KSP 1, Kerbal Space Program 1. We don't have that. So it's the user interface is so much more inviting and friendly. Okay, so we have, this is the same kind of building setup almost, but we don't have that background image. Our bay doors are closed. So I need to get more sleep. Welcome to the Vehicle Assembly Building, or VAB. This is where you assemble vehicles to take you wherever you want to go. Continue. This is the parts picker. This is something big that I want to get through to everybody. If you're new to this game, look at how much nicer this is. We have an arrow. Okay? We have this information. Okay? We don't have a lot of weird symbols cluttering everything, okay? This is the parts picker. You take pieces from the picker and place them in your workspace. A good starting rocket has a command pod, an engine, and a fuel tank. Not particularly in that order, though. I wouldn't do that top down. That might turn out badly. I'd switch the fuel tank and the engine. A fuel tank holding the fuel the engine needs. You can view parts by category. You can also search and sort parts by default. Parts are sorted by type. If you have a part you use often, you can add it to your favorites by clicking the middle mouse button. That's nice. Okay? That's nice. I get it. This game isn't done yet. I get it. The price point is still pretty high. But look at the ease of use so far. I'm not in the training center. I haven't gone to the training center, but I'm learning right here. And sure, KSP 1 has some of this stuff, but it's nowhere near as in-depth. It's nowhere near as, I feel comfortable right now. I don't feel uncomfortable going, what am I going to do, what, you know? There's going to be a lot of that to come, but still. You can construct several assemblies or sections of your vehicle at the same time. The assembly marked with the green icon is your launch assembly. It is what goes out the door when you select launch. So this little thing right here, it even shows you. Look at that. Look how nice that is. Use the engineer's report to see how your vehicle will perform. It will give you useful stats and a list of potential problems. We were talking about this exact thing in KSP 1. How do I know that my rocket was going to get off the ground? Is there an engineering report? And if there is in the first version, where is it? Could I have learned that in the training center? Yes. But look at this. I've learned it now without having to go to the training center, okay? A thrust to weight ratio over 1, which means your rocket will actually leave the launch pad. That's perfect. You have a thrust to weight ratio over 1, which means you have enough thrust to lift your weight and move it in the direction you're trying to move it. Beautiful. Over here is the trip planner. Use it to plot a destination and ensure that your vehicle has the ability to get there. Look at that. Look at that. If we're trying to launch a craft that leaves Florida and ends up in California, or whatever the names are, we can plan that right there. We'll take a look at each one of these. Once you're ready to fly, select the launch button, like this big arrow that shows you where everything is. As long as your vehicle fits completely within your vehicle assembly building, it will be moved to the launch location. Well, I guess if it doesn't fit, then it won't go. The training center teaches everything from basic rocket construction to orbital mechanics. It's both fun and informative. Do the training. But if you don't want to do the training, look. We're here. We're here. One of my favorite things is the favorite section. By default, you have everything you need. Right here. Already. You already have everything you need on the other one too. But the ease of usability. How easy is it for a novice, a newbie to come in here and do this and get hooked? This is what game developers need to be focused on. How can I take a difficult game with a lot of mechanics and a lot of stuff to learn and make people excited about it so that they want to learn? Not make them learn so that they have the ability to get excited, but get them excited to learn more. Same way with academics. If you make it look fun, people are going to want to learn how to do it. Simple. So let's start over here. Look. What do we have first? A pod. What was the first thing we needed? Pod. We click it. It's there. There's a pod. Right? What is that? Methalox? Is it methane and oxygen? I don't know. Methalox. Let's see here. Is the smallest of the Methalox fuel tank series. It can be used for small satellites and probes if you want to rocket. Look at that. It tells you it can be used for satellites and probes. Okay, what is this one? It's a small diameter fuel tank for fueling small landers. Well, we know that's not, we don't have a, this isn't a, we're not using this as a lander. Okay, a good choice for upper stage assemblies. All right, so one upper means, you know, we start at the bottom. So this is one of your last stages. This is like what you would use to hold fuel after you've gotten your vehicle into an orbit. Or maybe you've gotten your vehicle close to an orbital trajectory and you need that extra oomph to get it going. Or maybe you have a very large, heavy payload and you're bringing it back and you just slow the rocket down as it goes through. Okay, and then this one. Okay, it's the largest. Okay, and it works great for upper stages or for the small standalone rockets, which means, look how easy that was. I haven't done any training. I haven't looked at the training. I have kind of an understanding, but even if I didn't, which this is my second time playing the game, but trust me, my first time was it was catastrophic. Right here, the swivel is a small but versatile Methalox engine. It features full 3 degrees of thrust vectoring. Vector thrust, which means we can direct, it doesn't matter, we can direct our craft using nothing more than the engine, making it a good choice for smaller rockets. Okay, it says right there, inspired when a barbecue grill tipped, or it's supposed to say tipped, right? Hot off the runway. The Terrier fuses function and fashion. It's perfect for transporting smaller, late stages of rockets through space. Only comes in medium. Well, we don't really need to do that, so we can actually use this. Look at this. Scroll down, let's see what else we got. A solid fuel booster. Do we need a solid fuel booster? What's the difference between a booster and an engine? A booster helps you get a heavier vehicle off the ground without utilizing your very expensive, very, very important liquid fuel and liquid oxidizer. So, here we go. We have a stack decoupler. Well, we haven't decoupled. We haven't put a coupler yet. We have just a single piece rocket. So let's click. Right? This works from the top down. So, as we go through, we can select that entire chunk. Right? Now, something I know we need for this is a shield, a heat shield. Do we need a heat shield? Probably not. Let's see. Thermal. Disperse and protect against heat. How nice is that? There's one important factor I want you guys to notice. XS, SM, MD, MD, LG, XL. Does that remind you of something? They're sizes. They are sizes of things, right? Everything from this, what do we have here? Small, 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 extra small, right? So all of our pieces we already know are probably the right size. So our parachute, we have an extra small parachute because we have a small capsule. We have a nose cone should we need it, which we don't need it. It doesn't matter. We bring it back over here. The cool part is look, remember I was telling you last time you have to bring it back into the menu or press the delete key. Now, if you look down the bottom left, it has like a little recycle thing, little recycle symbol. Bring it over, opens up a trash can, and you drop it in. Ease of use. Okay, so we have a parachute, we have a module, we need to go, we're worried about heat, where do we go? Thermal. What size pod do we have? Who knows? Maybe it's a small one. Look at that. Perfect. I know what you're thinking. But we need a coupling. And what does a coupling do? Well, let's see what it does. Separate stages in stock. Wow. I wonder which size coupling we need. Maybe a small one. I mean, the rest of our stuff is small. Let's see. Will all be small, small, and small. Now, what's the difference between a separator and a decoupler? Well, I'll let you look into that. Let's see what it says here. The separator is designed to jettison whatever is attached to both sides of it, and perfect for small multi-stage craft. It is armed with several explosive bolts safely ejecting whatever. What does a decoupler do? This is a single-sided detachment device built for very large rockets. Oh, that was very large. A one-sided detachment made for small rockets or payloads. The arrows painted on the sides indicate which side will be decoupled. Isn't that crazy? So if we look right here, we have a little arrow. Let's see if I can get down. Okay. This little arrow, which means it's pointing to the side that'll get decoupled. So it's going to remove itself from the heat shield. The heat shield is going to stay intact to that. That's going to remove itself off. If we did a separator, it means it's going to push both sides away. We don't need that. What's the point of separating? It doesn't make any sense. It does in velocity changes and stuff, but who cares right now? So now we have a separator. We forgot it. We put our rocket on. Cool. We need a way to stabilize it. Come back here. What's aerodynamics mean? Wings and air intakes. Pfft. Come on. It's... Do we need a wing? Do we need a stabilizer? What's a stabilizer? What's a wing? Okay, a wing is something that sits still. A stabilizer is something that actually moves around and stuff like that. Okay, so let's see. Let me show you. I'm going to put a wing on. Okay, a small wing. Now it's going to make this thing look like a giant, thing. But let's say we want more than one. Come down here. See this big number 1? Symmetry mode. It tells you 2. What about 3? We have 3 wings. Well, let's see here. Let's trash that. Did I do stabilizers or did I do wings? I did wings, so let's go ahead and drop our wings right there. Let's go ahead over to the launch real quick. Now I want to show you something. Now if you look, now that I'm pushing my A and D keys, you see those fins? See them moving around? Okay, so they're actually moving. They're not just stuck in one place. Okay, they're going to be moving around to help direct the aircraft. Now that only works when you're in the atmosphere, because you have to use the air to push things around. Without the air, it doesn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and revert. I just pressed the escape key to the vehicle assembly building. Okay. Now, let's see. It's going to take a second to get through. I like little things. So what were we on right there? We were on, I think we were on wings. Okay, so let's get off of wings. Let's get into stabilizers. Okay, let's look at a stabilizer. Wow, the size is considerably different, right? Versus a wing and a stabilizer. Okay, so what's the difference? Well, wings are going to be for aircraft. Stabilizers are going to be for rockets. So now if you look, we still have that, right? But they're going to be stronger. They're going to be more rigid. As you can see, our compass is moving around because it's such good physics that if I did this enough, I could probably rock the engine and everything back and forth. I could probably knock the plane, or not knock the plane, but I could knock the rocket off of this mount that it's on. Okay. So a wing is going to be something that's used to fly on. A stabilizer is going to be using stabilization. A wing is going to be designed for lift, and a stabilizer is going to be used for stabilization. I'm trying to find the best words to put together so that I'm making sense to people that might not know what I'm talking about. So, let's go ahead and take a look over everything and see where we're at, okay? And the cool thing is, so we've got our fuel, we've got our rocket, we've got our decoupler, we've got our heat shield, we've got our parachute, we've got everything we need for our people to survive. Let's go ahead and check out our engineer's report. So what is our thrust to weight ratio? Let's see, thrust to weight ratio is less than 1. Vessel will not leave the launch pad. That's a problem. Well, why? It's amazing. I click on this little thing, and it's bringing up my engines. It's pretty impressive. So I think our engine's going to be the problem. So let's see what our engine is actually. Let's go ahead and put our engine back up there real quick. Let's right click on it. Let's see what it is, right? So we're at 100%. This is the LVT45 engine. Okay, it's a small engine. So that's this one right here. Now, this is a small but versatile Mythos engine. If there's 3 degrees of thrust vectoring, it makes it a good choice for smaller rockets. Okay, now we also have other ones. Okay, so our fuel tanks are what? Methane. Okay. Let's see. So right here, the Vector is the flagship engine. It is heavier than engines like the Reliant, with nearly power gain of a mainsail with a gimbal of over 10 degrees. So let's see what this is. It doesn't tell us what our thrust is. Which, does this say what our thrust is? Let's see. Max thrust, okay, 769 kilonewtons, which this one has 215 kilonewtons, okay? So you guys can worry about what all of that means at a different time. So let's go ahead and change out this. Now we got a big old engine. Probably bigger than we need. Let's see, that was 215, 260. That one's 850. That one's 60. That one's 6.6 at 1 atmosphere. So this is all at 1 atmosphere. Okay, and it tells you even the thrust, that max thrust in a vacuum is 170. Okay, so that should be plenty. Okay, now let's get back into our engineer's report. All right, what's our thrust to weight? 7. That's a lot. Let's see if we can go a little bit smaller. What is this? The thud. Okay, so that's a side mounted. Let's see here. So we had 215. Let's see if 260 will work. Right there. Thrust to weight, 3.051. So we know now that our rocket will leave. Right, which one was that? Which one did we just put on there? That was the Reliant. This one right here. Okay, so the difference is, right there, the max thrust in atmosphere is 188. This one's 221. That gives us a 3. We're good to go. Okay, so I haven't been through the training yet. I've just looked at what's on the screen. Now I'm sitting up here now. You can add things, you can add structural supports, you can add girders, you can add all kinds of crazy stuff to this. I'm just out here balancing right now. We're automatically set to 100% thrust, 100% throttle, whatever you want to call it. We have our stability assist control. I'm actually going to turn that, well, we'll leave it on for now. Let's see what happens with three stabilizer fins on here. Okay, here's a few pointers. This element is your flight cluster. Look at that, dude. Look at that. It tells you what that is. What is that? The other one didn't tell us. Okay, number 1 didn't tell us. What is this? You can speed up or pause time. You can still move your camera and interact with functions, with part functions when you're paused. So not only can we go faster, but we can stop, we can look, we can go fast. Like let's say we're in a slow orbit, which is actually a fast orbit, but because of the size of things, it looks really slow. We can speed this thing up and go through years in an instant. The other one has that too, but you know, without going through training, we didn't know what it was. Okay, this is your staging stack. Okay, it shows in the order, blah, blah, blah. The first stage is at the bottom of the stack. How nice is that? If you'd like to learn to fly in a safe, simulated environment, be sure to check the training center. Okay, cool. So now we know what all of our stuff does. Now we don't know a lot about what all this is. I told you that that's the reaction control system, but the cool part is, unlike KSP-1, you hover over it, it says reaction control system. Stability assist system. Come on. Right? That's good. We're fine with that. We have our altimeter here. We have our surface velocity here, which is our velocity relative to the surface that we launch from. You guys don't need to know that either. We have our degrees right here, blah, blah, blah. So, we're at full throttle. We have a thrust to weight ratio of 3. So we probably don't need 100% throttle. I'll be honest with you. You probably need something along the lines of, let's go ahead and let's try 35 and see if it gets off the ground, just as a guess. So, we're going to click our space bar. We have a countdown, okay? We have our vacuum pumps here. We have all of our stuff. We're getting rinsed out. We're getting spark. We're getting, check this out. Look at that. We're getting off the ground. I tell you, 35% throttle. We're moving. We're increasing our velocity slowly in a controlled manner. Right? And we know it. So, our prograde, like I said, is going to keep us in the direction of our trajectory. Right now, we can lock it in the up position. So now we're just going to go up. But in the real world, what we want to do is we want to take our stability control off, right? So if you notice, as we burn fuel and we get away from the Earth's surface, our velocity is going to change. It's going to go faster and faster, so we can actually slow down a little bit and pull off that throttle. Okay, we don't need all that throttle because we're getting away from the gravitational forces. Okay, we're slowing down a little bit. We still want to pick up a little bit. It's so hard to dial it in, but we're still moving. So let's go ahead and let's just see if we can roll this thing over a little bit. Okay. Oh, let's turn our reaction control off a little bit. And I think our stability control is still on up. Let's turn that off. Let's turn our stability control off. We have full control. Let's go ahead and lock that in there, turn it on, and let's go for our prograde. So now hopefully that will start keeping us in a trajectory, right? I'm guessing that because our trajectory is still, so now we want to increase our speed. Right? Turn our stability control off. That nose up a little bit. We're going to try and burn through all of our fuel real quick. Let's just see. Let's go all the way up with our fuel. Okay, we're out of fuel. Now let's hit our M key. Let's go back and let's look at our trajectory. So once again, that's where we're going to land. So we're out of fuel. We have no need for any of this stuff. So let's leave that behind. See ya. Okay. Automatically that capsule set us in there. But let's go ahead and put our stability control on. Let's set it for retrograde so it stays with it. Let's put our reaction control system on so that it stabilizes everything. We can come down here and speed up the time. We can slow it down. See, look at that. And I don't know how far we are. What's our altimeter? We're about 2,000 meters, so about 1,000 meters. We'll go ahead and eject our chute. And we're probably not going to fill it. Oh, it did fill. We can pause. Check everything out. Look at the texturing. Look at the texturing on the water. How cool is that? And obviously we're going to survive this. We're looking up here. We got a G-force meter. What's good? What's bad? Negative is okay. 0 is okay. Up here, 14, 15. Kerbals don't like that. So, turn off all this stuff because we're on parachute. Look at that. Vessel recoverable. Active vessel is recoverable. You've successfully landed. You can recover your vehicle through the escape menu. When you recover your vehicle will be recycled and your crew will return to KSC for their next mission. Recover vehicle. Very cool. Okay. So what is this here? Vessel destroyed. Oh, you know what? That might have been for our other parts and pieces, which, you know, in reality, we could have put parachutes on those as well and floated them down. We could have put a parachute system on it so the moment that it ejected, parachute could have popped. So flight status, not bad at all. So, there we are. Look at the texturing. Now we've got everything up pretty high, but I mean, look, we're sitting at 57 we're sitting at 57 FPS, which is fine. We're not playing first-person shooters. The shading is nice, and we have everything turned up. Okay. That's just my mouse wheel jumping around because I have it set in freestand mode. So, let's go ahead and get back to our main menu. Exit without saving. So, there's a lot of people that are saying that you should probably wait on the Kerbal Space Program 2, just because of the fact that it's not fully there. All the functions aren't there yet. But in my opinion, there is so much to learn that by the time you've learned everything, which you may not ever, that there's a really good chance that the rest of the development will be coming out. So like as soon as you finish what you're doing right here, the next release will be out. You'll be able to play it. Kerbal Space Program 1, awesome game. More usability functions and things that I could ever do in probably a lifetime. I don't even know. I could probably play it every day for the rest of my life and still have stuff to do at the end. On the regular Kerbal Space Program. The second one, the user interface is nice. It's user friendly. You have English language. It's not just reading text across the screen. It makes you feel more comfortable. It explains things, as you saw with the sizes of the components of your rocketry. It had small, medium, large, extra small. It was all there. You didn't have to guess and go through and figure out what systems fit what. Now, that being said, I'm sure that, you know, through training and stuff like that, there might be a way to delineate, but I'm a first-time player. I didn't go through all that stuff. I just wanted to see if the game was cool. Both games are cool. But if you are new to this, it's kind of hard to say. Because if you go through all of the training of the first Kerbal Space Program, you can get really good and really proficient at it. But I feel like Kerbal Space Program 2, even though it's not fully done yet, is easier to use, easier to understand, less intimidating. So if you're the kind of person that gets overwhelmed with a lot of information at the same time and a lot of things happen and all this over here and all that over there, you're like, I don't even, it's just too much. I tried playing it, but I didn't enjoy it because there was just so much going on. Go to 2. Go to 2. I think you'll have a great time. If you're a more patient person and you can kick back and relax with a soda and go through all the training and stuff, which you'll want to do in both, and you're a really focused person, I think that has a lot to do with it. I think if you can sit down and focus, the first game is more like studying. Of course, you're going to be interacting and doing things and stuff like that, but the second game is definitely more user friendly. I'll give you that. This is a newbie. Like I said, I played Kerbal Space Program maybe once or twice more than 10 years ago to this day. And, you know, so I really, being that far away from it for that long, this is my first time, is the best way I can say it. So, those are my thoughts on it. Is it worth the money to buy it right now? Yeah, I think so. I think so. I really do. I think that, my personal opinion is, I think that because it has so many mixed reviews, I think that the company itself that's designing, programming, and building this game is going to see those. They're not really negative reviews. It's just like, hey, you know, this is really expensive for a game that's not fully developed. It's got a lot less features right now than Kerbal Space Program 1 had. There's not a lot of features in it. I think that because of that, they're going to amp up and probably end up with just as much, if not more, of the same features, plus a buildable online multiplayer community. And if you already have the game, it's just going to be an update for you. Let's hope. Versus, let's say that they do release a very large update, and they're like, you know what? $59.99 now. You know, it's not on sale right now. $59.99. I think right now you can get it on Steam for $39.99. So, it's worth it, in my opinion. If you're a veteran KSP player, whatever you think is best. But this isn't really for y'all. This is for everybody else. And even if you are a veteran and you just don't know if you want to spend the money, I think it's worth it. I think it's really worth it. I don't think that they're going to let us down. They didn't have to make a Kerbal Space Program 2. They didn't have to. KSP 1 was such a widespread game in this niche of people. They didn't have to make a second one. They could have just modded that one for an eternity. But I think that because they went and made an entirely second game, like a start from scratch, I think that they're not going to let us down. So I like it. If you're really new, if you've never played this game before, get the second one. Get the second one, learn how to play a little bit, and then get back to the first one. You know, or go vice versa. If you like learn the hard way, and then go to the easier one. Up to you, but definitely worth it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'm actually going to end this video and probably spend the rest of my day going through the training, and maybe I'll make another video on the training and see just how in-depth the training is for the first one and just how in-depth the training is for the second one, and in comparison to that, and this, that, and the other. So if you liked it, please hit like, please subscribe to it. Even if you don't ever want to watch another one of my videos again, you don't have to hit the icon, just hit subscribe. It really helps me out.